Hey, hello, everybody. Good evening. This is Shannon Marshall, man, with the Texas Prison Transparency Project, episode number 19. First and foremost, my lady Ashlyn, man, she was feeling under the weather tonight, so she's sitting this one out. But I'm here tonight with a really live guest. Man, we've been blessed recently with some really great people that have been coming on the show. We learned all kinds of new information, new insights, things that we never considered before, right? And tonight we have the opportunity to meet another such standout person, a fairly almost unique individual. They say, everybody's unique and nobody's unique. But this man has some standout qualities in life, man. I really like him. I've recently been in contact with him. And, man, I think y'all are going to enjoy everything he's going to bring to the table. So, King, why don't you introduce yourself, man? Just tell us a little bit about you to start off.
Well, first of all, Shannon, that was an amazing introduction. I really appreciate that. I first have to give it back to you because I've watched a couple of your interviews prior to us linking up. I'm a type of individual that I like to know a little bit about somebody before
Right.
we engage on this level. And man, kudos to you, bro. Kudos to you. You've been out 7 months now?
Yes,
And
sir.
you're flying, bro. You're flying. You're doing some amazing stuff. So I just have to give it back to you. Hats off to you. I would take my hat off, but my hair ain't cut. But you know what I'm saying? But yeah, symbolically, hats off to you, bro. Hands down for sure. But
Yes,
I'm Elkanah Hendrix. With the Climbers Code. That's the name of my podcast. But I'm very grateful to be a part of this project. I'm grateful to be a part of this podcast. Just a little bit about myself. I don't want to steal away from the questions that
you
I'm going to
good,
be
bro.
asked.
We're about you tonight. Yeah.
All right. Well, a little bit about myself. Man, well, let's start with how I ended up getting arrested and incarcerated. I ended up robbing a jewelry store under the influence of some crazy thoughts. And
At what age?
35. At 35
35.
years old.
That late in life?
That late in life.
You call that a midlife? You call that a midlife crisis or what?
Hey, that's exactly what it was, man. It was a midlife crisis, and it was some extenuating circumstances behind it. But when I got to prison, I decided that when I got in county jail, because they say rehabilitation and successful reentry starts day one, right?
Day one.
So, and that's what happened with me day one. I would say night one. I decided, after consideration of doing some harmful things to myself, I decided to embark on this journey of self-discovery. I've discovered who I was, and I can say now who I was, but who I was at that moment. I discovered who I was and who I wanted to be, and I've been on this path, this beaten path, for 8 years now. I did 8 years in TDCJ, and I've accomplished, I feel like, a lot. And I say a
Exactly.
lot,
I like that.
right?
I like that. That's how I feel. A lot.
I've accomplished a lot because I still have a long way to go.
Mountains to climb.
Mountains to climb. That's what the Climbers Code is about. Mountains to climb. And I really don't think that there is a top. It's this mountain that is. I mean, it's larger than Mount Everest. We're going to continue to climb. Always be climbing.
Well, maybe just an interesting thought, and I know you're an intelligent, well-studied man, so I'll throw it out there. If you're familiar with like Maslow's hierarchy,
yes,
like needs that comprise humanity and the levels of humanity, it starts out the bottom of the pyramid is your most basic needs, food and sustenance, water, shelter, clothing, and then each successive level is like more refined and more evolved. But at the very pinnacle of the pyramid is what they call self-actualization. And they say less than 1% of humanity ever attains self-actualization. Yeah, I just figured I'd toss that out there to you.
And I agree with that 100%, right? self-actualization, because I feel like I've reached a certain level of self-actualization, but even in
Mhm.
self-actualization, I think there's things that's off the chart, right? Because you have to,
Absolutely.
one thing, you have to continue to remain in a learning state. I mean, even on a neurological level, you have to continue to learn, because once you stop learning and once you stop moving, then you become stagnant, and then you start to
Mhm.
fall down
Yeah.
that pyramid.
Stagnation is regression. Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Stagnation is like the first stage of rot. You know what I'm saying? You
Exactly.
sit still too long, you start to rot. So anyway, brother,
For real.
you obviously have not been sitting still much, man. How long you been out now?
Uh, about 5 weeks, one day shy of five
Woo!
weeks.
That boy is fresh, y'all. You still smell the chow hall. What is it? Pork noodle casserole?
Pork noodle beef noodle casserole, all of that, man. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, it's still on me.
Okay, bro. So tell me, man. We're gonna jump around here, man, a little bit, because I'm gonna shoot back to the beginning also. But tell me, man, 5 weeks out, how you feeling, bro? What
Ah,
state? What state of mind? What state of mind
it's
you in?
right now. I'm in a great state of mind right now, and if I'm being 1,000% honest, it fluctuates. Right?
Sure.
It fluctuates. I'm not always in a great state of mind, because all of this is new. To be gone so long, and I haven't been gone 25 like you, but
It's still years, brother. I
eight
get it.
years is a long time.
Yeah.
That's a long time to do, and everything is different. I just posted something on social media today about that, how much things have changed. And from day one, you know, I equated the penitentiary system as Mars. It's a different planet. It's a different world.
Absolutely.
The
Yeah.
reason why we say the free world, right? Because they're
Yeah.
two
Because
separate
that's some
worlds.
other world, right? Yeah. That
Exactly,
makes
it's
sense.
some other world. So to
I
go
like
from
that.
one world to the next world, it definitely takes some acclimation. I have to get reacclimated with everything.
Man, that's yeah, quite a lot actually, man. I've mentored a couple men since I've been out that have been getting out, right? That have needed a little guidance or whatnot in adjusting and making that transition. And yeah, and there's several things that most even have in common. When we first get out, you don't sleep very much. At some point in the first week to 10 days, whether you ever felt it before or not, a lot of men start getting anxiety, like anxiety spikes. Some people get like almost panic attacks sometimes, just because they begin to get overwhelmed. Like I remember I did it. I'd never had anxiety before in my life, really, but just thinking about all these things that I need to do,
Yes.
and what I should be doing something right now. Why am I not doing something right now? So what should I be doing, and how do I prioritize this and put it in order? And oh man, and you just, before you know it, you're sitting there 30, 45 minutes later, still arguing with yourself and ain't done nothing.
I had
Hey.
I had been preparing for this, for my moment of release, for years,
Yeah.
right? And I never experienced anxiety before in my life ever until 2 days ago. It took me a
Let's
little
see.
bit longer, but 2 days ago I experienced my first bout of anxiety, and it really debilitated me. You know, I After I began to think clearer, I realized that my blood pressure had to have spiked because this migraine came out of nowhere. And what the situation was, me and my brother-in-law, we were having a conversation because day day two, I created my vision board, right?
Yes.
And I've been checking things off, checking boxes off, and I have all these plans and all these goals and all these visions, and there it became overwhelming to me. And he said one little thing, hey, did you do this yet? And I thought about it because I didn't do that one piece of, one project that I was supposed to get done that day
Yeah.
from my vision board, and my anxiety just shot through the roof. I got this migraine. I had to take 2 Tylenols and lay down. I'm like, what is this? I've never experienced this
Yeah.
before. So it's real.
Yeah. Yeah. And especially when you never experienced it before, because I hadn't either. At first, I didn't know what it was. I'm like, man, I just know I don't feel right.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
I know I'm stressing or I'm tripping or something, but I don't want to be. But anyway,
really.
that faded over time too, man. After 8 years, bro, how do I say, man? How do you take your moments of appreciation on a daily basis? Do you indulge in gratitude and appreciation on a daily basis still?
It's sometimes I'm moving so fast, right?
Mhm.
I mean, and to your comment about lack of sleep,
Yeah.
I've been for the past 3 years in incarceration. I've been waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning every morning, clockwork, right?
Mm.
But
Pancakes.
well, no, I stopped eating pancakes a long time ago. I had to stop the pancakes, right? But it was to work out. I had to be at work at 6 at the Echo Prison newspaper, but it was to work out, to shower, to meditate, not to hum da da da, but just to sit there with my
Nah, get your
earplugs
mind
in,
right. Yeah.
right? My eyes closed and just meditate. And but in prison, I had the opportunity to go to sleep at a much earlier time, 7 o'clock p.m.,
Yeah.
8 o'clock p.m. at the latest is when I'm asleep. So I was
Mhm.
getting good rest and waking up at 3. Now out here, I go to sleep much later, 10, 11, because I'm doing things. There's more things to do. There's family, and everyone is
Endless.
is
Yeah.
is, is pulling for your attention, and you have to hand it out sparingly because there's so many people pulling, for your attention and vying for it, which they deserve it. Your
Yes.
family who haven't seen you in so long, they deserve that attention. But I've been going to sleep later and waking up um, at the same time, 3 o'clock. Like clockwork, I cannot shake that 3 o'clock number. And the only way I can do that is that I have to go to sleep at 3 o'clock. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? That's the only way. it's
Yeah,
the only
let's
way for
try
me
not
to.
to do that.
I know, right?
I'd
But
rather not. Yeah.
so I've been tired lately, right? And I'm still moving fast, light speed, in all the things that I need to do because I know what I need to accomplish. So sometimes, to your question,
Yeah.
I forget to just breathe for a minute and appreciate things and to be grateful for being free for
Oh,
one, although I
yeah.
still have the ankle monitor on, but I have a level of freeness,
Us.
right?
Yeah.
Exactly. But you can quickly forget to be grateful and to appreciate if you're moving so fast. So I
Yeah.
had a conference call.
If you're moving that fast, I would probably describe that as too fast. Because you do not, and I don't, I'm never gonna get preachy with you or nothing, brother, but that's one thing that is so important. You cannot lose your appreciation and gratitude for being able to live out here free as we're allowed to live, whatever, right? But still out here instead of in there. And
Yeah,
all of the many, many millions of things that we used to take for granted that we missed so much, man, bro, you cannot ever lose sight of that. Like, it really puts me in mind of a quote, and then I'll move on. But there's a quote that's very similar that says something along the lines of a man who does not fear the man who does not to fear the man who does not fear to lose his integrity. How does it put it? The man who does not fear to lose his integrity is most at risk of it, right? So apply that to your appreciation and gratitude of everyday life out here. Like, you know what does it for me? Sunrises, the dawn. I'm a early bird, just like
yeah,
you. I like to
yeah.
see the dawn. But anyway, yeah, that's what feeds the soul, brother. I ain't gonna go on too much about it, but that is so important. I hope you remember that part.
And I'm gonna
But
take that advice from you, bro. For real.
man,
I'm
that's
taking
what
that advice.
nourishes your heart and soul, bro.
Yeah,
Yeah, that keeps you
absolutely.
smiling, man, when life gets hard. Yeah.
Absolutely. I'll tell you
It's,
one thing though, that as far as gratitude and appreciation goes, that I do appreciate and I'm so grateful for every day. There's a couple of things, right? The grand scheme of things, I missed the mark, but there's a couple of things. One is my children.
yeah.
I have three of them, my babies. Um,
Blessed. Yeah.
and absolutely. And another one is my brotherhood, like my
Mhm.
my my close group of confidants. My bro Vaughn, my brother-in-law, my cousin Cameo out in New York, my bro David. I have a very close group of confidants that keep me grounded. And every day I am grateful for them. I'm grateful for my children. I'm grateful for my brother, my mom, my sister. So family,
Right?
I'm grateful and I appreciate my family
Yeah.
unequivocally 24/7, even while I'm asleep.
Well,
But other
I'm
things
glad
I
you
can
got
miss the
family
mark
like
on.
that. I'm
Yeah,
glad you got family like that still, bro. That's great. Yeah,
appreciate it,
appreciate
bro,
that.
for
Yes,
sure.
sir. So man, how about we take a jump back, man? You say you were 35 years old. This was your first felony offense?
This
Is
was
that
my
right or
first.
no?
This was my first offense. Period.
Offense ever in your life?
I never had a
35.
misdemeanor. 35.
Wow.
Never.
So see, that's abnormal. It's not usual. That's not, and that probably inclines me at least to believe that, yeah, that was a fluke. That was something like a fluke. That late in
Yeah.
life, that's not a habit. But
No, definitely
yeah.
not. Definitely
So
not a habit.
so if you want to, man, 35 years old. What made you just decide to rob a jewelry store one day, bro? How'd that come about?
Well, um, I have to. I have to back up, right? Because I asked myself that same question, and it took some deep introspection, really looking inside myself and addressing
Mhm.
certain situations that I hadn't addressed before. Um, but the short end of it is this: I grew up as a child in a very dangerous neighborhood in Los Angeles, California, Crenshaw District, and I witnessed my first murder at 7 years old. I
Dang.
7 years old. I was sitting
Yeah.
on my porch on Pickford Street between Crenshaw and Washington, uh, off of Crenshaw and Washington, between Crenshaw and La
Hmm.
Brea. There's this street called Pickford Street. It's the same street where, if you've seen that movie, I mean the music video, Ice Cube, Today Was a Good Day. When he first hits the switches in that lowrider, that was on our block, right? Um, so I'm sitting on my porch, and we grew. I'm not going to name the neighborhood or the gang that was it, but it was a Crip neighborhood, and usual car that I see all the time, loaded down with that neighborhood gang. They stop. They pull up and they stop right in front of our quadruplex, four houses, four apartments in one, our
Yeah.
quadruplex. And they stop. I mean, they skid to a stop. And there's a car that skids to a stop about maybe 40 yards behind them. Guy gets out, he starts shooting at that car with a pistol. That car, they had some automatics or semi-automatics, something. They had rifles. One of the guys get hit. His buddies leave him. He's on the ground. His buddies leave him. This car drives up. Long barrel rifle comes out. And when I say his face exploded, his face exploded. It was like watching a watermelon drop and
Yeah, and you were
explode.
7 years old,
And
bro.
I was 7 years old when I witnessed
Ooh.
that, right? Now,
Yeah.
these are thoughts that I hadn't thought about in decades, right? But in introspecting and asking myself, why would you rob a jewelry store? What possessed you to go in there with a firearm, discharge the firearm, and leave that jewelry store with jewels and loot? Why would you do that? Well, I had to go back to that time at 7. Then I had to go back to the time when my brother's best friend got shot 17 times and died before he hit the ground. I had to I had to pull files from my memory bank about countless numbers of robberies, armed robberies, men being held up at gunpoint and having their goods taken from them. Um, you know, my brother having things stolen from him, and even at, I think, around 12 years old, watching a man point a gun to my father's face, wondering, is he going to end up like that guy whose face exploded?
Hmm.
Right. So my dad, that was the breaking point for him. He he packed us up. He moved us 40 miles, 45 miles east of Los Angeles, and this is in 1994, 1995, to a city called Rancho Cucamonga. Now, a lot of people say Rancho Cucamonga, that's a real city? Yeah, well, because the movie Friday, or Next Friday, was filmed in, well, it was really filmed in Duarte. This is a fun fact for everybody. It wasn't filmed in Rancho Cucamonga. It was filmed in a city called Duarte, but it was supposed to be Rancho Cucamonga. And it was a similar city. I mean, it's nice neighborhood, nice house. I remember the first night there, it was the first time I ever heard crickets. Literally, the sound of gunshots was replaced with crickets. We went to sleep, and my brother and my sisters can attest to this. We went to sleep every night after we heard gunshots because we knew that the police will likely be in the neighborhood and it'd be a little bit safer and we can go to sleep, right? In
Yeah,
Los
actually,
Angeles.
that's logical. Yeah,
Kids, thinking about
it's a
this type of
hard
stuff
logic. It's
is
a
a
hard
very hard
logic,
logic.
but it's logic. Yeah.
Absolutely. So moving to Rancho Cucamonga, I'm thankful for my father. He even prior to moving up to Rancho, he was like the father of the neighborhood. He was the only black father, for one, in the neighborhood. Period. There were no other black fathers in the neighborhood. There was a Hispanic father there, and then that's pretty much about it. So I thank him, rest in peace, for transplanting us and moving us to a safer area. But I hear the term, and oh, you can take the boy out the hood, but you can't take the hood out the boy.
Yeah, I've heard it.
And it was that was true for me. At the age of 15, 16, me and a few buddies started a rap group. Um, One of my buddies still in Los Angeles from the neighborhood that I, came from. Go out there, visit him, and a few buddies from a city called Fontana and one from Rancho with me. We started a rap group, and that rap group ended up becoming a gang. So even though I was in a better neighborhood, every chance that I get, I'm trying to go back to Los Angeles. I'm in Riverside, California, Fontana, San Bernardino, and we are, some young
Yeah.
terrors, right? So when my daughter, my oldest daughter was born, I believe I was 21. That's when I said, you know what? I'm leaving all of that alone. I'm gonna go ahead and push that to the side. Hey, fellas, catch y'all later.
Say that's a life-changing moment, man. First child, brand new
First child.
fatherhood, change the way you see everything. Yeah.
Absolutely. So from that age of 7 to 21, that was kind of my story, right? Now I'm a father. Now I'm a working man. First job that I got was as a janitor in a hospital, San Antonio Hospital in Ontario, California. Me and I get married. I marry the mother of my daughter. In fact, we got married before we had our child. Moved
Okay.
into an apartment in Rialto, California, and we are doing the responsible thing. We're both working. We're both paying taxes. We are productive citizens, right?
Mhm.
And that had been my life from 21 until 35. So
Okay.
you would think, okay, well, damn, you've lived longer,
14
for
years. Yeah.
right? You know what I'm saying? So why still it doesn't equate to, but it does, and the trigger though, there was a trigger there, and that trigger was I ended up, and I'm very careful with this because I don't want to say anything bad about anyone else, right?
Right.
But two failed relationships, um, and some things that happened within the church that moved me to start looking into other religions, and
Okay.
I ended up becoming a Hebrew Israelite. I ended up actually believing that I was a Jew, and
Okay.
as ridiculous as that is, now that I know, but I this particular religion, man, and I can't say it's the religion in and of itself because there's people in the religion that didn't do what I did, right? But because of my past and because of the issues that I never dealt with, that was in my subconscious mind, just pushed back, swept under the rug, right? It influenced certain things. So I looked at things a little bit different. I ended up believing, okay, well, hey, this is the new Exodus. We're supposed to be, we're prophets. We're supposed to be getting the children of Israel out of Egypt, which is America, and all of this stuff, right? And there was a particular passage that I read in the Bible to answer your question: what possessed me to rob a jewelry store at 35 years old? I read this passage in Exodus where it talked about the particular situation was Moses had just performed, I believe, his last miracle, and he was leading the children of Israel out of Egypt,
Mhm.
and they procured, for lack of better terms, they procured the jewels and the fine things from the Egyptians, and
Mhm.
then they left.
Yeah.
So I took that ideology and that mindset and believing that
Uh, okay. Thought it gave you license.
I thought it gave me license. In fact, even more than license, I thought it was a command.
Okay.
So
Whew. Okay.
extremism is very dangerous. Um,
Yeah,
certain religious
absolutely.
ideologies
Yeah, the
are
word
very
zealotry
dangerous.
had come to mind. When
Yes,
zealotry gone wrong.
yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's what led me. And so you're right.
Wow,
This was a
that's
this.
quite a path. Yeah, that's quite a path to come to that through those stages. Man, it just. But again, it shows you, man, it happens to so many different types of people in life. Yeah, the majority are young, but is that all of them? No. The man was 35 years old and led a fairly exemplary lifestyle all the way up until then. And bam,
Oh,
because
right
of
there.
circumstances that had been piling up over the course of his entire life, bam, there was a tipping point.
That
You
was the
know,
tipping point.
nobody's
Absolutely.
immune.
Exactly.
Nobody's immune.
No one
Yeah,
is.
it can happen
You-
to anybody. That's
You're one
why
action away. You
people
are
that
one
judge
wrong
too
action.
much and look down their nose and chalk people up and no, write them off. That it can happen to anybody. You would change your entire world song and tune if it happened to your son, your daughter, your mother, your father, something like that. It would, so that's why I ain't never really bought into any kind of haters like that. I don't care about their judgment, you know.
Yeah.
So so tell me, bro, all this happened. You made this decision through these means, and you get sentenced to TDCJ. You're going to Texas State Penitentiary.
Yep.
So you come down here. You've already told us you did 8 years or a little bit more. How'd you do your time, man? How'd you spend that time?
Uh, in the beginning, not totally wisely, right?
Right.
And it was because of information,
Mhm.
wrong information given you. In county jail, you hear all the stories of, well, what's going to happen, when you get there. As soon as you land, it's heart check time. You
Heart
know,
check.
a heart check. As soon as you land, it's heart check time. You're gonna get your heart checked. I'm like, okay, what's a heart check? They let me know what it is. All right, for sure. So I'm expecting that, and I began to build myself for that. Right? There's all kinds
Yeah.
of stories about them. Oh, they're gonna send one at you, and if
Yeah.
if he's too easy, they're sending another one at you, and
5-man line, 10-man line, 3 at one time.
you
Yeah,
you
it
know
goes on.
about it. Yeah, you know
Yeah,
about it. You know, and
it
I
goes
know it's
on and
different
on.
in different states, but yeah, in Texas, that's how it goes.
And
You're
it could
fighting.
actually be, it could be any of those. You never really know.
You don't know. So
Yeah.
what was I doing in county jail? I got up to 3,500
Push-ups.
push-ups every other day, right?
Yes.
You know, clap
Battlefield
push-ups so I
training.
can
Yeah.
strengthen my punching power. And I've been in martial arts since I was 13 years old.
Oh,
You
so
know,
you had a foundation.
I
Yeah.
already had the foundation, but you know, when you're facing, okay, well, you don't know how many they're gonna send at you. Okay, well, let me prepare myself for this. So
Yeah.
that was my mindset going in. Instead of focusing on, you know, all the things I should have been focusing on right away, I was focused on, all right, this heart check. I was focused on, you know, lineups, people testing
Mhm.
you. That was what
In a word,
consumed me.
violence and having to
Violence.
deal with it.
Absolutely.
There was no avoiding it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So that's what I went into.
Violence is an everyday reality in prison. A lot of people out here on the outside, they've heard about it, but most of them can't really imagine it. Living every single day with threats all around you, like real credible threats. They could pop off and jump off at any time. And not to be dramatic, but you could actually die any day of the week.
Yeah.
Like
I've seen it.
realistically,
Like
come on.
realistically. Yeah.
And to live in that state for years and years, sometimes decades. Wow. Welcome to Texas State Penitentiary. Yeah. So that's how you entered this world of violence, where violence is what I like to call the universal language in there. It's the one language that everybody understands and agrees upon, right?
Yep.
Other than that, you know, how'd you adjust? Well, how'd this go?
Once I had my first altercation, and and people saw, for one, because it's not about winning or losing inside of there, right?
Correct.
And it's about heart. It's not about, if you, I don't care if you get the brakes beat off of you, you fight hard.
You got up 3 times. Yeah.
Exactly. They're not gonna mess with you. You know, that's just what it
Yeah.
is. But that first altercation, which I didn't get the brakes beat off of me because of my training and my background, but people pretty much left, for the most part, kind of left me alone for the most part, right? So now that was kind of out the way, I said, okay, now I can start focusing on other things. I was still trying to, at that moment, rid myself of the ideologies, you know, because there was still residue, right?
Sure.
So I was trying to rid myself of these religious ideologies that I've been holding on to that led me to prison. And once I finally did, then I began to focus on reading. You know, I've read 416 books in
Oh, you
my 8
counted them, huh?
years.
Wish I
Yes.
would have counted mine.
Man, I'm sure you read thousands. I'm sure you've read thousands. You
Really?
know, and that's including novels, right? But
Yes,
it was,
absolutely.
and you can learn a lot from a novel. You know that a lot of these novels.
Absolutely. That's still literature, and
Exactly.
they use a lot of fact-based stuff in there.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. I learned so much from novels, but it wasn't until I began to dive into the philosophical books and the psychological books and the scientific books, right?
Yeah.
And began to really kind of hone in, and the first psychology book that I read was from cover to cover, was by Carl Jung.
Carl Jung, I know him.
The book was called On Jungian Psychology. And that blew my mind, man. I mean, that book just blew my mind.
He was a student of Sigmund Freud, and then
exactly.
he rebelled against him and went and done his own thing.
He did his own thing, man. He did his own thing, and he was on point in a lot of areas.
Yeah, I like a lot of his stuff, man. It makes sense.
Yeah. So it was reading. Reading is where I kind of just started to hone in on. Let me read. Because prior to prison, believe it or not, I can count on one hand, a couple fingers left to spare, how many books I read from cover to cover. I was always starting things, but I wasn't a finisher.
I don't think I ever did.
I didn't complete much.
I think I read my first novel in county jail. For real. And real talk.
Yeah, first novel. That was my first novel I read in county jail. I still remember it was Maze Runner, the first one. That was my
Okay.
first novel
Yeah.
in
Yeah,
county
you always
jail.
remember that, right?
Yeah, you'll remember
Yeah.
the first, man. But yeah, it
Yeah.
was the reading, man. It was the
So you
reading, and
developed a love of reading, man.
I love it. I began to
Yeah.
really just love words. Yeah, I've always loved
Me too,
words. I've
man.
always loved playing with words, but
There-
yeah, it
There's
became my
two
heart.
titles. Yeah, there's like two titles that I embrace, right? I'm a word nerd and I'm a bookworm, bro. And I
Come
ain't got
on,
no problem with that.
all the way.
Absolutely. I embrace those, bro. Like you
For
said, even
sure.
reading novels and stuff, you're still expanding your vocabulary and learning new stuff. Yeah. Love the
Yeah.
world of knowledge, man. Yeah.
Come on, man.
So you started getting into psychology and philosophy and these deeper understandings and stuff, man. Where's this going? Where was it leading you?
Uh, that's how I ended up becoming aware of the concept of introspection by reading these things, right? And really, to be honest, okay, let me back up a little. I discovered I wanted to be a writer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I had dreamt up some novel ideas, some movie ideas, and I said, okay, well, I
Was
want
that
to write.
before you got the Echo job or after you got the
Oh,
Echo
this
job?
is long before the Echo job.
Okay. All
Yes,
right.
this is
You already
long.
knew.
Yes, I
Yeah.
knew it exactly, and I'm gonna show you how powerful auto-suggestion is because I use auto-suggestion and honing my craft, and I didn't know where it was going to take me, but I knew it was going to take me somewhere great, right?
Sure. Yeah.
So I was in the process of not wanting to be a just a regular prisoner or inmate that wrote a novel that doesn't know how to write. Grammar sucks. You know, I didn't want to be an author of one of these
Yeah.
trash urban novels out there. I
You didn't want to be vanilla, no pun intended.
exactly.
Yeah.
And
I couldn't
so
resist.
and
Bland.
so so what I did was I had my bro send me a bunch of books on writing, right?
Yeah.
And one of my favorites was John Truby's The Anatomy of Story, 22 Steps to Becoming a Master Storyteller.
Yes.
But there was a uh, a set of thesauruses, 7 of them, in fact, by Becca Puglisi and Angela Ackerman. It's crazy how you remember the names of these books and the authors, right? Becca
Yeah. Because
Puglisi and
you
Angela,
developed retention.
right?
Yeah.
Angela Ackerman. They wrote this series of thesauruses, like for writing,
The writers.
for novelists in
Yes.
particular, right? And storytellers. You know, they had the urban settings thesaurus, the rural settings thesaurus, where it gives you all kinds of ideas.
Yeah.
They had the emotions thesaurus, the negative character trait, the positive character trait, the
Yeah.
occupation thesaurus. But there was one when I got my hands on it and I opened this book up. It was called the emotional wounds thesaurus.
Oh,
Right?
wow. Huh.
I'm reading through it because I'm working on character development.
Yeah.
I'm building a particular character that I want it to be as in depth of a character as the Game of Thrones characters, right? So I
Vivid.
said,
Yeah.
this guy has to be more than just a character. He needs to have, I need to know the nuances of him. I need to have, you know, not physical characteristics, but psychological, emotional, right?
Yes.
And during this process, and this book is called A Paper Curtain. I have the manuscript for it too. I wrote that. I
Mhm.
wrote that novel. But during the process of building this character, uh, I came across a particular part of the book titled "Dangerous Growing Up in Dangerous Neighborhoods." So
Mhm.
that was an emotional wound, right? And let me backtrack just real quick. So psychologists and psychiatrists around the world use this book so that they can better aid their patients. That's
Okay.
how in depth and accurate it is,
So it's like a
right?
standard and a reference. Yeah.
Exactly. So I'm
Okay.
reading this so I can build this character because I have him in a growing up in a dangerous neighborhood. At this time, I didn't know that the character I was writing was me. I had no clue that I was
Right?
writing myself. So
Wow. Yeah.
I'm reading the dangerous neighborhood and everything that it was talking about and the character traits that came with it, I dropped the book down. I had my jaw dropped with it. I had to pick my jaw back up, and I said, "That's me."
Whew. Yeah.
That's
A moment
me.
of self-realization.
That was my first moment of self-realization, right there.
How old were you then?
I was 35. I was still 35.
Okay. At first,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because
The
I
first
hadn't,
year.
no, I take that back. I was 36. I was in county for a year. So I was 36. Yeah, I was 36 years old when that happened. And
Did it
that was
prove to be a
that
life-changing
point.
moment?
That was the life-changing, literally, that was that tipping point for that stage of my
Yeah.
life. That was that life-changing moment for me. I said, wow,
Yes.
that's me. Maybe I need to dig deeper into this introspection, and that's what I did.
And that's a great follow-up. Absolutely. Now that I'm aware, like, wow, this is what I look like almost third person outside looking in. I'm finally seeing myself for the first time with like a objective opinion. Yeah, that's deep. You gotta, and then it gets into like, do you like what you see? Do you like who you are? Do you like yourself? You got to ask yourself these things, man, and then try to be honest with yourself. And if there's things you don't like about yourself, well, what are you going to do about it? What do you want to replace them with? What would you rather be? Yeah, the whole chain of thought just takes off, right? I walk these roads too. Yeah,
I know you did, and many of us, most of us do. Now I don't say most of us become aware, self-aware, right? And that's the issue. That's something that needs to be dealt with and handled, because without self-awareness, you're going to continue to repeat the same patterns because you don't understand. You have no understanding. You don't understand why you're doing what you're doing, period. And
that's actually very, very accurately put. They continue doing it and not even knowing why they continue doing it, or why they're so disappointed in the repeated outcome of it. But yeah,
absolutely.
that actually happens.
Yep.
People stuck in cycles, walking
That's
in
it.
circles.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So how'd you bust through that, bro? That first moment of realization made you want to take it deeper, and you decided you had the willpower and the discipline to pursue it.
Yeah. I
A
decided
lot of
then
people
that,
don't.
yeah. Well, see, I've always been, well, I won't say I've always been disciplined, but martial arts has given me a certain level of discipline, right?
Yeah.
It is a discipline.
That's what I wanted to say. It is a discipline.
It is a discipline,
Yeah.
and at that time hadn't been in martial arts for, I don't know, 25 years, 22 years, 23 years, something like that at
So
that
again,
time.
very sturdy foundation. Yeah. Even for
So
discipline. Yeah.
yes, absolutely. So discipline wasn't really an issue. I knew that if I wanted to do something, then I was going to do it.
Okay.
That's been my mindset since I was a teenager. I just didn't have direction. That's what I was missing. I was missing understanding, and I was missing direction. The discipline had never really been a problem, but the direction and the understanding had been the issue.
Yeah. Understanding is important, bro. Like I used to always stress the difference between knowledge and understanding to people. You can know all kinds of stuff. You can read whatever you want to read and, memorize it word for word, front to back, verbatim. But if you don't actually understand what that stuff means, or the dynamics of it, or how you can actually apply that to or in your life towards your betterment, then it doesn't really mean anything, bro. You know some words, but that's it. You don't have true understanding. Knowledge and understanding, man, there's a big difference. And what's the quote? What's the quote? Knowledge without understanding is a tragedy.
Come on, man. And the gap between knowledge and understanding is experience. It's taking that knowledge and putting it into action, right? Because you won't truly understand until understanding comes after you act. Oh, I did this. Oh, now I understand with that knowledge, right? And then that's what you call wisdom. That's where wisdom comes from,
right? And then
right?
it derives into wisdom, right?
Exactly.
Yes, sir, man. That's great. Yeah. So tell us, if you want the rest of your journey, bro, how you finished off your time, the things you've done for yourself to prepare yourself for this next chapter out here with us. And you know what I'm saying? Let's walk down through there. Let me know what you got going on, bro, and how you got there.
All right. Well, uh, I mentioned auto suggestion. Some people
Mm-hmm.
call it positive affirmations, right?
Right.
I forget what article I was reading about that, but there was a particular article that really touched me deep. And I ended up reading more articles on it. I had my bro send me in articles. Now I'm reading articles and from psychological journals and you know what I mean, things like that. And it was one of them was talking about auto suggestion, and the guy mentioned a book by Napoleon Hill. Um, Help me out. You know the name.
Which
Think
one?
and Grow
Think and
Rich.
Grow Rich.
Think and Grow
Yeah, that's the
Rich.
most popular one.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what I learned about auto suggestion and how you can literally rewire your subconscious mind, because the subconscious mind, everything that you do consciously is because of what's embedded in you subconsciously, right? Autopilot. The conscious moves on autopilot based upon everything that has been ingrained into the subconscious. So I said, okay, I can rewire this
Mm-hmm.
subconscious, by telling myself the
Yes.
same thing over and over and over and over again. And that's what I began to do. That was the
Yeah,
first step for me was,
that's
huh?
one way. Yeah.
Yeah,
There's
that's
one way.
that's one
Yeah.
way for sure. And that's the path that I chose, and I began to just tell myself this, that I'm going to be, because I wanted to be a writer. I'm going to be the greatest. I am the greatest writer of my generation. I am the greatest writer of my generation. I'm the greatest writer of my generation. And I start to consume books on writing like Skittles. And I began to write and write and write. And there was a gentleman by the name of Tone. They called him that because he was from San Antonio. Biggest triceps I ever seen in my life, man. Tone
Yeah.
told me, old school dude, right? About 60 years old, he said, you know what, I see what you're doing, I see all the studying you're doing, you're learning on your own, but you need to get in college. They have these college programs in prison. I said, okay. A couple weeks go by. He said, man, did you do anything about that? No. He ends up putting it in for me, right? Making sure that I
That's
filled
nice.
it out, sent it off
Yeah.
for me. Shout out to Tone.
For real.
Not long after, I ended up at the WIN unit for Lee College.
Okay. It's a good
Now,
college.
yeah, I earned 2 degrees there, one in microcomputer applications, one in business management. But
Woo. Congrats.
thank you.
Salute.
I
Yeah.
appreciate that, brother. And my mind was focused on, though, more than anything, speech and English, because I knew I wanted to be a writer, right? So all my time with the with the subtraction of minor hiccups and sometimes major hiccups,
Mhm.
the majority of my time was spent on honing my craft as a writer and as a speaker. And
Wow.
in doing so, long story short, I ended up getting referred to the Echo Prison newspaper
Yes.
for a staff writing job and a journalist job because
Which is headquartered on the wind farm, right?
it's headquartered on the wind farm. You know,
Straight in.
Miss Kaiser, the managing editor, she asked Professor Honeywell if she can refer just one student, past or present, to work for the Echo, because it's a staff of only 8
Okay.
for the whole prison
System.
system,
Yeah.
right?
It's crazy.
And she said, Miss Honeywell said, Hendrix, hands down. So she comes and she tells me about it. I apply for it. I get the job. Um, I thought about it for a second though, because I said, okay, well, how would this assist me in writing novels and in, writing self-help books, which I'm a published author now of a self-help book for
Awesome, man.
prisoners, for
Yes.
prisoners, right?
That's awesome, bro. Love it.
And
Yeah.
you know, it's a matter of fact, it's the book right here, man.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to
Um,
tell me the name of that.
a Compass State of Mind:
Okay.
How to Successfully Navigate the Rough Waters of Incarceration.
Where can that be ordered?
How to
You know,
successfully navigate the rough waters of
navigate the rough
incarceration.
waters
Okay.
of incarceration. I
Where can
use
that be
it
found at, bro?
on Amazon.
That's on Amazon?
Yes, it is on
Okay.
Amazon.
Well,
And
y'all know that's going to be good. Yeah.
yeah, I'll send you the link, man. I mean, I put my
Yes.
heart and my soul into that book. But the reason why I wrote it is because uh, while I was incarcerated, I became big brother to a whole lot of people.
Yeah.
And as I was coming closer to parole, I had guys asking me, "Hey, you're gonna leave us in here dry? Which we need something from you. You're a writer. You work for the Echo. You write articles. You're a published author
Yeah.
already. You have published articles. Leave us something." So I decided to go ahead and write this book, A Compass State of Mind, which is, it's based off of the ideology or the concept of a compass, right? Which needs to be calibrated in order for it to work correctly. And a compass, if it's just off by 15 degrees, it will send you miles in
Mhm.
the other direction, right? And the first chapter is about self-awareness. It's called Finding Your True North, because people don't use compasses anymore. They use True North,
No.
right? So
Right.
now the compass, you still need to calibrate your mind, but you have to
Mhm.
have self-awareness, which is your true north.
True north. Yeah.
Your true north, right? And so I cover self-awareness. I'm a big proponent of that. I'm a big proponent of chasing your full potential.
Yes.
And I wrote this book for the men I'm working on right now, trying to get funding so that I can have this book in every prison library. That's my goal.
That'd be pretty awesome.
Is to
Yeah.
have at least 10 copies in every prison library in Texas first. And
That'd be
so
pretty awesome.
yeah, that's what
That's
I'm
that's
working
a
on at
great
this
goal,
moment.
bro.
Yeah,
I
that's what I'm
actually
working
like
on at
that
this
as a
moment.
goal. Yeah.
For sure, I appreciate that, man. But
Yes, sir.
yeah, that was kind of that had been my journey. The major hiccups were, and you know how this feels to lose family while you're incarcerated. You can't go to funerals.
Yeah.
I ended up losing my sister, who was 11 months older than me. We were very close, to COVID during the pandemic. I ended up losing my father. I think I have a drawing. One of my buddies, he oh,
Yeah.
let me show you this. This is how I did my time. To sum it up, this is how I did my time.
Yeah, that
This
works, man.
this, this was airbrushed by Fabian Flores on the Wind Unit, one of the coldest artists in TDCJ. And then this was an oil painting. This is of my sister. Uh-oh. Of
Oh.
my of my sister and my father.
Oh wow, that's an oil painting?
That's an oil painting,
Man, bro. Yeah, they got down, man. That's live.
right? So
Yeah, that's good. I love that airbrush too.
she passed to COVID, and my father, rest in peace to both of them. He passed from pancreatic cancer,
Man, rest
and
in peace, bro.
I appreciate that. So that was the hardest thing for me, and it was especially when my sister died, because I wasn't as strong as I was when my father passed, right? And so I kind of went off on um, a little terror real quick, and
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that was a dark moment, but
Yeah, I've been through it, bro. And I've helped a lot of other men through it, on the inside. Yeah, it's a hard thing. Just like you talked about that first moment of self-realization that came to you earlier, that's how that came to me. That was my moment. I've spoke about it plenty of times, but most important person in my life died and passed away, and I realized that I couldn't even cry because of the way I had been conditioning myself. Like I couldn't, right? And that's when like I started to get mad. Like the hell's wrong with you, man? You can't even shed a tear.
yeah,
Started to feel ashamed of myself, and that just made me more mad, right? So
yeah, yeah,
the whole cycle, but it made me look at myself and ask myself, like, what are you doing, bro? What are you becoming? Is that what you want? And all of those logical questions that followed. And yeah, big turning point in life. So I was
yeah,
right there on the same page with you, bro. Know
yeah,
exactly
man.
what you were talking about.
And
Yeah.
that's what I mean by it being two different worlds, because that's a world where you know, crying is seen as
Weakness.
super weakness,
Not even
right?
just weakness. It's a like an open call for exploitation. It's like you just
Exactly.
asking somebody to come by and try to take advantage of you, try to
Exactly.
take something of yours. Oh no, blood in the water.
Yeah.
No service.
Yep. Yep.
And that
Sad
people get
situation.
conditioned like that. Like I said, for years, decades of such conditioning. Yeah, crazy. So your time on the inside. What do you think the most important lesson you learned is? Or if it's not the most important lesson you learned, what is the most important lesson you would like to pass on to other people, bro? People that may be living in a way that might lead them to the same cell blocks we've been on, if they're not already there.
A quote comes to mind by, her last name is Tugaleva. I can't think of her first name right now.
Wow.
But
Tugaleva.
Tugaleva. It's to know yourself, you must first sacrifice the illusion that you already do.
That
To
sounds
know
right.
yourself, you must first sacrifice the illusion that you already do.
That you already do.
We are so disillusioned about how self-aware we are. And okay, everyone is self-aware to an extent. I'm aware that I'm a human, right? I'm aware that, you know, if I pinch myself too hard, it's going to hurt.
It's going to
I'm
hurt.
aware of, right? I'm aware of these things. That's base level of self-awareness.
Right.
But statistics prove that only 10 to 15% of the world population is highly self-aware. Only
Yeah.
10 to 15%. So it begins with self-awareness. So my message to anybody listening to this is, you have to first begin to know yourself. I discovered in prison that I had ADHD.
Oh yeah. Never been diagnosed.
Never been diagnosed in the world. 5% of the world population, free world population, has ADHD. Between 2 and 5%.
Okay.
The prison population is between 25 and 45%.
That's very believable too. Yeah.
And these are real statistics. And
Yeah.
I'm so positive about these figures because I just recorded a mini podcast, you know, about ADHD, right?
Okay.
That I'll be dropping tonight. And if it wasn't for me wanting to discover who I really was, I would have
Yes.
never taken the chance to sit down, an opportunity to sit down with a therapist, right? Which is also seen as taboo. I wouldn't have sat down with the therapist and been diagnosed.
Yes, sir.
But
So
I no longer,
how would you tell somebody to begin that path, that journey? How do you begin to become more self-aware? How do you start that process? Do you have any advice?
yes, absolutely. Well, I'll say this. The good thing about TDCJ is that they have a plethora of cognitive life skills programs, cognitive skills programs. Um,
Yeah. CIP and
that's
such. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Now, if you really pay attention in those classes, you know, a lot of them just go just to pass time. But if you actually, these programs were written by psychologists.
Yes.
So if you don't want to consume all the psychology books, take a 6 week course or a 3 month course, and they'll give you the steps. You know, I can give them, but that's going to take, that'll be a whole nother
Right.
podcast right
Yeah,
now,
sure.
right? On how to become more self-aware. But what I can say is for those who aren't on the inside, I'm sure there's classes out here too, but uh, introspection, start asking yourself those hard questions. Stop assuming that you know yourself. Ask yourself, who am I? Look yourself in the mirror and say, that question, and I have to say this, County jail, day one, I strongly considered taking my own life. Strongly considered it. I mean, I won't go into the details, but I strongly considered it. I was that close.
Yeah.
And it was the thought, it was two things. It was the thought of my children and my family, and it was a question. Because like I know, that in county jails and in a lot of penitentiaries, they have these stainless steel plates fastened to the wall above the
Right.
toilet,
Yeah.
right?
Like a
Acting
mirror.
as a mirror.
Yeah.
And this particular plate on Murder Row in Williamson County Jail, I was on Murder Row with all murderers, but these cells aren't too nice. But this plate was all scratched up. So I'm brushing my teeth and I'm looking in this mirror and I can't see my own face. And it did something to me to where it triggered that question.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can't see yourself. You don't know. And that's when I asked, well, who am I? So to answer your question,
Yes.
for those who want to become more self-aware, ask yourself, like Tugaleva said, to know yourself, you must first sacrifice the illusion that you already do. So we have to stop believing that we know who we really
Assuming.
are.
Right.
Exactly. And ask that question. And then you begin to ask the hard questions, right?
Yeah.
When you ask that
Yes.
question, things are going to happen to you in here. But you're going to open up a floodgate of other questions. And
Yeah.
then you have to answer those questions, and you have to address them.
Yes.
So
There's like all the
introspection.
vocabulary in the world, man. One word that stands out above all other words, for me at least, always has. Why?
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 Why? Says who? Why? Yeah. Pursue that.
Yes, for real.
Pursue
Straight
that
up.
and learn to love the pursuit. Yeah. That's the
Absolutely.
path of knowledge. Yeah.
Absolutely. You have to
Yes, sir.
pursue that, man.
Well, what's the quote? Since we both love quotes, what's the first step upon the path of wisdom? Asking questions.
Come on. It's so
Yeah.
simple, right?
Ask questions.
It's so simple. And I
Yeah,
love that
son.
about my son, my 7-year-old son. It's crazy. He's 7, and we were just talking about when I was 7, right? But he asks so many questions,
Yeah.
right? And I love that about him. I was the same way as a child growing up, inquisitive. And the thing we don't do is we don't ask ourselves these questions.
Yeah.
We ask
Yeah.
questions to everyone else, but we
Yeah.
fail to
That's
ask
pretty
ourselves
typical.
these
That's pretty
questions,
typical.
right? And so,
Yeah.
yeah,
Do as I say, not as I do, type stuff. Yeah.
exactly.
So, so tell me,
Exactly.
brother, that's man, bro, you've been on a hell of a journey. So now that you're back out here amongst the world, man, out here in this free world as we call it, man, what are our plans? What are our hopes, goals, dreams, desires? What are we trying to do with this, man?
Okay, well, somebody asked me that question too while I was still on the inside, right? And this was when I was asked to become a member of a documentary. I was asked to be in a document to star in a documentary.
Okay.
It's a documentary on what reentry looks like, and the documentary had already been filmed and had been being filmed for a little while already, and
Right.
they wanted one more person to be a part of this documentary, which is about what reentry looks like, and they needed what they felt like would be a success story. So I was humbled
Mhm.
enough that they would choose me for that documentary. And
Right.
while I was on the inside before I got released, one of the film directors, Adam Dietrich, who's an Emmy award winning film director, it's crazy,
Wow.
right? But
Wow.
yeah. Um, he asked me that same question. He said, if you can tell yourself, because they're going to be filming me for a year, following me for a year. So he said,
Ooh,
if you can, yeah, at anything that I do, any event that I go to, I mean, if I'm getting my hair,
that's a long
they're
commitment, man. A whole year.
a whole year, bro. They're here at the house. They're acclimated with my
Yeah.
family here, and it's. But he asked me a question. He said, if you can tell yourself one thing 1 year from now, what
Okay.
would that be?
It's a good question.
It was a great question. He
Yeah.
had a whole list of questions, great questions during that interview. But I looked in and he said, don't look at me, look in the, this time I want you to look in the camera because you're literally talking to yourself 1 year from now.
I
Right.
like that.
And so I looked in the camera and I said, congratulations. And this is the first thing that came to my mind. I said, congratulations, you are a New York Times best-selling author.
I'm going to be the greatest writer of my generation. I'm going to be the greatest writer.
Huh?
Yeah. Full circle, brother.
Now you
Bring
see,
it.
now you
Bring it. Yeah. Yes.
and
That's great.
you know, I left prison with the published book and 4 more manuscripts. So
Okay.
yeah, I have a total of 5 books written, and
Are
I
they all
believe
5 published? They all
no,
5 out
no,
there?
I have a strategy for the other 4.
Okay.
Right,
Okay.
I'm actually seeking a publishing deal. So
Mhm.
my goal is to make it, and this is why I've been moving so fast. My goal is to make enough steam out here to where I have agents of publishing companies in a bidding
Mhm.
war.
Sure.
Right. So
Sure.
especially for
There's
the
to be
next book.
desired.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's the goal, right? That's shoot for the
Yes.
stars, shoot for the stars, man, right?
Yes,
And so
absolutely.
if you miss, you might hit an eagle. But if you shoot
Right.
for an eagle, you miss, you might hit a rock. You know
Well, I
what
was
I'm
used to
saying?
like
So
shooting for the moon and landing amongst the stars, but I guess
come
all
on,
of it
man.
works.
For real. So
All right.
yeah, so
So we got more
um
books coming. We got this first one available on Amazon. We
yes.
put the information up here in the quotes for everybody, or in the comments for everybody. Excuse me, we've been stuck on quotes, but so yeah, information's in here. It can be found on Amazon. You said you're gonna drop what'd you call it, like a mini podcast tonight. Where can we see it at, bro?
So the Climbers Code on YouTube.
Okay.
That is the Climbers Code. TheClimbers
Mhm.
code, CODE, one word. The Climbers Code on YouTube.
Yes, on YouTube.
YouTube channel I just started up about 3 weeks, 2, 3 weeks ago.
All right.
Already has thousands of views on the channel. It's crazy, man, how fast things are going. But that's what happens when you not only learn who you are, but when you discover your full potential, right?
Yeah.
So for me, my full potential and who I see myself as in the future is a New York Times bestselling author, is a top 5 public speaker in the world, you know, is a awesome father, right?
All
An
right.
awesome father. I'm not even thinking
I gotta
about
make the list.
wives or wife right now, but like that's not even on the
Yeah.
agenda, you know, but
Yes.
when that time comes, the world's greatest husband. Maybe I'll start saying I am the world's greatest husband. I am the world's. Maybe I'll start put that for
Gets in the mantra. Yeah.
the right. Start doing the mantra for that one. But yeah, definitely so, bro. I just
Okay.
that's where I'll be
That's
at.
awesome, bro. That's great. Last question, man. Anything you want to leave everybody out here with, man? Last words. A man climbing the ladder right now, climbing the mountainside.
Yes. Don't ever let anyone tell you that you're less than. Don't ever let anyone tell you that you are less than. If you have people in your circle that are those type of negative individuals, then find a new circle.
Yeah,
Find
that's
a new
simple.
circle. You know, step out of your comfort zone, introspect, step into yourself and step out of your comfort zone. And then begin the process of goal setting. When you discover who you are and who it is you want to be, there's still a gap. How you fill that gap is with goals. Because uh, Bill, oh gosh, I think it's Copeland, I forget his name. He said this: you can run up and down the field all day, but without a goal, you'll never score.
You'll never score. That sounds like old boy the Heisman Trophy's named after or something. That sounds like one of his quotes.
Without a goal, I mean, it's so real. Without a goal, it is impossible to score without a goal. So get on the path of setting goals.
Sound like Vince Lombardi. That's who I'm thinking of.
Oh, Vince. Okay, I see. Yeah, it does sound like a Vince Lombardi quote. It was I forget the guy's name. It's like something Copeland, but
good deal though. It's a good one. Good one to memorize.
That's my piece of advice, man. You know, learn yourself. Pick up some aspirations.
Yeah.
Find out who you want to be. Start asking yourself that hard question. Who am I? Why? Like you said, ask those whys. Who is it that I want to be? What, and this is important. What can I do, see myself doing, and it not feel like a job?
Man, that's a good one.
For me, it was writing. I can write all day. I do write all day. And I'm not getting paid for it yet, but it doesn't matter. You see, so when you can put yourself in the lane where you do something that truly excites you and invigorates you, then everything else is easy. That's a part of self-discovery. And that's how you're going to figure out what your full potential is. That's the easiest climb that you can do, is that journey and that path to your full potential that is in line with who you really are deep down in your core.
Yes, sir. Very well said, man. I like that. I like that a lot, man. I think everybody can get something out of that. Man, start on the path. One foot in front of the other. Come on with it. Pursue life.
One step at a time. One step at a time.
Pursue life and craft goals, man. But better yet, man, don't nobody forget to take a look in that mirror tonight.
Come on, man. For real.
King Hendrix, brother, it's been a blast, man. We've gone down through there, man. You really do have quite a different story, you know.
Hey, man.
Than anybody else I've spoke to, and I've spoke to many, right? So
I'm really looking forward to this budding relationship between us, bro.
Yes,
you
sir.
know, for sure,
yes,
man.
Sir, man.
This ain't the last time.
We've both done so much.
Yeah,
tell them just wait. Just wait for it. It's coming.
Come on, man. For real. You already know.
Yes, sir, man.
Yes, sir.
So let's tell everybody good night on here, man, and we'll end this till next week. It's been a blast.
Everybody watching, everybody tuning in. I love you. I love y'all, man, deeply. You know, that's one thing prison will do, is give you an appreciation for people, for humanity. So I love y'all. Love you, Shannon. I love Ashleen. I love you. You know what I'm saying, sis? I'm gonna call you sis now. Hey, man, big ups to you guys and what y'all doing.
Yes,
y'all are doing some amazing things. I mean, some amazing things. So, you know, I'm just sitting here watching. I feel so humbled that you guys would even have me on your podcast. Seriously, I do.
Oh yeah, without a doubt, bro.
For sure.
Yeah, welcome anytime, man. I highly suspect you might be back.
I will. I will come back anytime you ask, man.
Yes, sir, man.
Sure.
You have a good night, all right?
All right, you too, brother. All right, bye,
brother, man. Bye, everybody. Texas Prison Transparency Project.